In this CraftSanity video, I'm going to show you how to work with the smallest of the CraftSanity circle looms. I already have a video out showing how to work with these three, so I'm going to put these aside and show you how to work with the newest one that we've released. Okay, so I'll give you an overview of kind of what you can do with this. You make these teeny pieces. Now this can be used as a little button cover. If you take it off the loom, you can tuck in these guys here. Use as an applique. You can make soft jewelry with the loops out like this. You can stitch it down to something else. You can put some felt on the back. I've been making earrings out of these looms and actually have an option in my Etsy shop right now where you can order some finished earrings, or you can order some with the findings on them already warped, so you can just start weaving. You also can order these little looms just like this and do whatever you want with the looms. So what I'm going to do is show you how to warp the loom up. The technique is basically the same as when you use the bigger looms. It's just a little bit more challenging at times because you're working so small. So I'm making a little slip knot here, same way you start. If those crocheters out there, you know this is the way we start crocheting. And your loom will have this little yarn guy at the top. I put a little dot here for demonstration purposes. I'm just going to put the loop over the scallop edge. I call these scallops around here. I'm going to put this little knot over the edge, and if you pull it like that and just do it again. And sometimes it helps to make the loop smaller first, but let's see. Yeah, if you make your loop smaller, you can put it right over the top. And again, it is a little tricky to work small like this. Okay, and in the instructions, I'm going to include a diagram that looks like this. Now this is the back side of the loom. What I did is I just numbered it. So you start at number 1, go down to number 2, go around this scallop, so underneath it, come up at 3, go across to 4, go around this scallop to 5, across to 6. So I'm going to leave this sitting here and we're going to get started. So now you can write the numbers on your loom if you want to, otherwise you'll have a diagram that you can look at while you do this. So I'm going to go down here to the second spot, and after you do this a couple times you won't really need a diagram anymore. I went around that. I'm going back up to the top. So again, I put my loop over, it's on the back here. I'm going to the left of that dot, going down around the scallop and back up. You're always going to be crossing this center hole here, and so you just keep working your way around the loom. And I'm using a rug warp, or just a cotton warp that I use for, it's a cotton string that I use for weaving on small looms, and also you can use this to make dish towels and things. You can use crochet cotton, you can use embroidery floss. These were made with embroidery floss. So, and that's a pretty soft weave when you use the embroidery floss. Okay, so from here, you can make a decision. You can decide if you want to switch colors right away. You're going to have a little bit of turquoise in the center because when you knot this up, it's going to be a little bit of a bump there. You can decide to switch colors right away. In this one, I started weaving with the white and then went to turquoise. So what I might do is the reverse of that this time. So I'll just well, actually, no, I'm going to switch to the lighter color so you can see what I'm doing, because otherwise it's going to be a little bit hard to do. So I'm just going to cut a little bit Since I'm going to switch colors, I don't need very much. This is actually more than enough. So I'm just threading a yarn needle, and I'm just going to just kind of gather this in place. Now, if I want to keep weaving with this color, I technically could just start weaving and not really worry about making a knot. It's not really essential. I just have, I'm a little bit ridiculous about how I start my weavings. I always want to secure everything, but that's not really that necessary. I say that and then I continue to make knots. Okay, so I'm actually going to make a knot. I've just been going across. And to do that, I'm just going to pick up, go under one of these threads here. Do that one more time. All right, now I'm gonna undo take that off the needle, and I'm going to tie the off-white on here. And this is just an unbleached cotton as well. Okay, now what I can do is I can cut this shorter. And I'm going to take these two ends here. I'm going to get those out of my way. Put them on the other side of the loom. I'm just going to pull that down. Okay, now I can start weaving. And I have a pretty short piece. Okay, and you can really start anywhere. And I'm just going to kind of start right where I am. And I'm just going to go over, under. You can do under, over. And notice that I'm working toward the outer edge of the loom, because if I work really close to the center, I can't really see what I'm doing. And this is basically the same technique I use for all the looms. So no matter how big or small it is. And so once I get back around here, I'm going to check my work, make sure I did it correctly. And the way you know you did it correctly is when you get back to where you started, you're going to keep weaving and it will spiral, so it'll do the opposite of what you did on that first pass. That's how you know you did it right. Okay, so design-wise, I could do something kind of like this, do a spiral, and then I could come back and fill that in with another color, which could be kind of cool. But for our purposes today, we're going to just keep things very basic, and I'm just going to come in here and pull this. And if I want it to be tighter, I can come and pull it here, pull it close to the center, and then pull it right here. Okay, and then I'm going to just keep going. And you usually can go over under, you can go under a couple if you don't want to do it one at a time. And it gets a little bit easier to weave faster when you get further out from the center. And I actually really like to keep these little weavings on the loom. So you can buy them in groups of 3 on the website without any warp on there. And then you can make whatever you want. These make little cute little ornaments too. And so would the next size up. That's a good size for ornaments too. All right, and I'm just going around. The nice thing about these little looms is they don't take very much time. I'd say if you're teaching children, I would not teach them on this size. I would go up to one size, because these are a little bit harder for kids to hold on to, like especially small kids. If you're teaching older kids, it'd be fine. But I'd say if you're doing early elementary, a class with early elementary students, I would go with the bigger size, just because it'll be easier to hold on to. And if you're working with older people with vision challenges, and I'm actually one of those people now, I hit 40 and I need glasses, but it's, you know, harder to see. So if you're working with seniors, you're working with young kids, I go up to the next size. But this is fun because you literally can put this in your pocket. And I think there's a lot of possibilities that I haven't had the time to do all the projects that I want to do with this size, but I've actually had these in the mix for about a year and a half, and I've sold them at local shows in person, but I have not put them on my website. And I just thought, well, this is kind of silly. I need to get some instructions written, make a video, and share this. Okay, now I'm not doing anything fancy here. You can do some techniques where you weave just, you know, you just go back and forth across a few and back and forth across a few over here. And it'll look like you're kind of building different sections out with some gaps in between. That can be really fun. And you can do it on things, on looms this small. I'm just going around and around here just to kind of fill up this loom and show you how to finish this project off. Okay, so I'm getting to the end of this white piece here. Now I could stop anytime with this, but I'm gonna just probably try to come close to using this up here. Now you can knot the end of your working yarn to the next piece, or you can kind of overlap the two. Okay, so it kind of came off here, so I'm gonna just let this go here. I'm gonna cut it right in, so I'm not gonna knot it. You have the option of knotting it. If you're gonna knot it, I leave this piece knotted together and then you can push the knot below. But here's another technique that I kind of like. So I just cut it close to the weaving. I'm gonna grab this piece I cut earlier. Get this on my needle, and okay, so I left off right here. I'm gonna come up from the bottom, and the hole on the back is pretty small, so you can't always make it all the way to where you need to be. So I'm coming up here, leaving a tail on the back, and then I'm going to kind of pop this through right over here. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just follow the last row, just follow along. So this is gonna overlap. Now you wanna make sure you don't pull too hard because it's gonna come up the bottom. So I'm just going right over the work and tracing that. So see how that's, I'm following the previous, and then here's where it ended. I'm just going to keep going. Now, if I was weaving a rug or something, I would not want to overlap my weaving like that and not have it knotted. But this is not something that will get foot traffic. That's not my plan for this. So I think I'm going to be just fine. So what I'm going to do is just do probably a couple more rows of this. And then I'll show you how to take this off the loom if you wanted to. If you don't want to, when you finish weaving, now you can weave all the way out to the edge, but what I'm going to do is take it off. I kind of like having those loops around the edge. They look like little flowers, and I kind of like that. So keep going here. And then if you decide that you want to leave your work on the loom, like let's say you're working on a pair of earrings, you can drop a little bit of super glue on the back, just in these along the scallops to hold them on there. I'd also put some glue in the center to hold that yarn in place. And I know that's kind of, I don't know, glue and weaving doesn't seem like a great mix, and I do try to avoid that as much as possible. But if you're worried about your weaving popping off the loom, that's definitely a way to secure it, because as longer it's on there, there's a chance it can stretch out a little bit, and well, it will stretch out a little bit. So if you're worried about it coming off, you can add some super glue to the back. Okay, so when I get back up to the top here, actually, you know what? It looks like I'm good. I can start doing this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is do one more here. Okay, so this is the part where I want to secure it. So I can go around and just do a knot around each kind of spoke around this. If this was a bicycle wheel, you do a knot at each warp thread. However, what I found is that, and actually I will be back up one because I just want to have a little more thread. I'm running close to empty here, so I'm actually going to back up a couple to make sure I have enough to do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across. So my yarn's coming out here. I come across and go down into the weaving, go under the warp thread right in front of me and the next one. So I'm going back across on the top and then down under two. So again, I'm going to do that where I'm going down and under two warp threads. I'm doing that all the way around. And this is something I've actually started doing with all the circle loom sizes, because I think it just makes a nicer look. You get these little lines here and they look kind of cool. It just looks less messy than a knot. It makes a nice kind of finished edge. And when you get to the end, it wants to pop off quite often. And I sometimes don't guess accurately when I try to use up every last bit of my thread. And that is kind of ridiculous, because it's always a better idea to have enough to finish than to... Okay, well, since I'm cutting it very close here, I'm going to show you what to do if you're doing what I'm doing and you run out, because you're trying so hard to save every last bit, use it all up, that you don't give yourself enough. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just go under one, and I'm going to make a knot there. Just going to go back through that thread, tighten this up like so. Attempt to do that one more time. Go back through here. And poke that down through the center like so. And then I'm going to get some more And when you poke it from the bottom, you can't always get right to where you want to go. And so I'm going to leave a tail in the back so I can tie that off and leave a generous tail under there. Come back up right here. And I'm going to, actually I'll come up over here. So I'm going to reach back and just pick up. So this one's done. I'm going to just pick up right here. Go across. So I'm going over the front. I'm backtracking back across. So backtrack over one, go under two. So you're going over one, over the top here, and back under two. I'm just going to finish up. Looks like 2 more here. Okay, now that I'm here, I'm going to make another knot. Just going to do that one more time. And then I'm just going to push this thread down below through the back, if I can angle that. Okay, so the weaving is done. If you're going to leave it on the loom, what you can do is knot these together in the back and then cut it short and kind of just work this back down in here and put a drop of glue to hold it. If you're going to take it off the loom, which is what I'm going to do, you can pop these, all the loops off here. Usually when you get this many, you can just lift it up. Okay, so you'll notice, let me pull this off, you have all these scallops and then this loop. So the first thing I do when I pop them off the loom, now you could do something, like I think it looks a little bit odd like that, so what I do is I take my yarn needle once again and I go back down right here and kind of make that little loop. I just kind of eyeball it to make it about the same size as the ones next to it. And then flip over to the back here. And just knot that up. And you want to make sure you don't pull too tight because you don't want it to, you want to keep that loop there. And just double that up again. And then you can knot, if you're going to back this with felt or some other backing, you don't have to worry about weaving in all the ends and all that, because you do have quite a few ends if you switch colors. So, but all these can be knotted together. And then just cut shorter. Because you don't need to have that big mess of stuff behind here. Okay, and then all that can be cut off. Okay, and then I have another one here. So if I wanted to, I could do something, put a little tiny bit of lavender or something in there, stitch these together, and have a little interesting soft jewelry piece. You also can sew these onto other things and make little floral designs. And yes, there's a lot of different things. These are some little bits that I've been working on here. Yeah, so hopefully this gives you some ideas of what can be done with these really tiny looms. They're also good just for sampling if you want to try out some color combinations and don't want to invest a ton of time on a big project. This is one way around that. So if you have questions, you can reach me at jennifer@craftsanity.com or leave a comment below the video. Hope this is helpful. Happy weaving.